Picture this. You're in front of your latest prospect, closing the biggest deal of your life. Your pitch decks were perfect. Your scripts, flawless. And when the time came to answer the golden question of, are you ready to move forward? Nothing happened. For everyone who loves sales, this is their worst nightmare. But fear not, because in this podcast, we're unraveling the enigma behind those missed opportunities. From appointments that evaporate to presentations that felt like a Broadway show but ended in awkward silence, we're dissecting it all. Welcome to Love Your Sales.
This podcast is presented by GenHead. GenHead leverages AI so small and medium-sized businesses can find their ideal clients to make more sales. Other companies talk about AI, but we are using it every day to drive down marketing costs and increase revenue. Learn more at genhead.com. That's genhead.com.
Welcome to another episode of Love Your Sales. I am joined today by Scott LeBeau. He has got 35 years in the banking industry, working with small to mid-size as well as large, working with large businesses as well. Is that correct, Scott?
Yeah, I've had a couple, but mostly they've been smaller businesses or a lot of consumers and car dealerships, things like that. So
Awesome. And he is now the owner, the founder of OneSourceDirect. And I am thrilled to have him join me today and walk us through his journey into entrepreneurship. So welcome, Scott. I am so thrilled to have you join me today.
thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's as you know, because we've had so many side conversations. It's interesting. We'll use that word today, okay?
All right. We will use interesting. But Scott, I'm excited to have, like I said, I'm excited to have you come on because you and I have had a lot of side conversations around OneSourceDirect and what it does for people. Let's dive a little bit into that because it truly is an amazing platform. So let's talk about that.
All right. Are you okay if I use your story that I posted on a few weeks ago about your search for the accountant?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk about that.
I think that's just really kind of sums up very well what we're trying to do. And you had mentioned that you were looking for that accountant and you'd spend 3+ days looking for one and really had no responses or very limited responses. And what we're trying to do is make it so that you could have taken that 3-day journey and put it into 15 minutes. And so you could have simply used our platform, said, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to look for an accountant, I can create the need form, a little description, what you're looking for, time frame, just some basic things. And then the minute you hit submit, it goes actually directly to any accountant that's on our platform. And it really benefits you because it saves time on your end. But when you look at that accountant on the back end that might not have a marketing budget, is going to appear on page 15 of the internet searches and things like that no one ever looks at. So it's really a way of trying to connect that buyer and seller directly with each other in as easy as possible process we can put together. If that makes sense. But again, it's just a simplified way to connect people.
So it's that would have been free for me or?
Yes, that part would have been free for you. In fact, if anyone wants, they can go out there and sign up today. Just go to our website. But right, for you, it's free. For the account, they do pay a monthly subscription. And with our platform, that subscription is one price for everything that we offer. So even though we have two platforms, every time you want to, send something out, you don't have to pay another charge and create a new campaign. So it's just a much, again, simpler, hopefully, process for people.
Well, that sounds amazing. So I, as a small business, could put my information out there, explain to the world what I do, and then all of the people out there who are on there for free, put out what they are possibly searching for as far as needs, and then I'm advertised directly to them when their need comes up.
Right, yeah, they connect directly with you. The other thing, you could take like our podcast today, and you could actually push that out to people that are looking for, marketing or business development tips. So it's really a way about creating a two-way flow of information so that as a user, and in a recent poll we did, we found out that 70% of the business owners spend more than 11 hours a week on the internet looking for things. Well, this is a way to give them back part of that time, so it comes directly to them. It benefits you from the perspective of you're trying to reach that customer ultimately.
Hmm.
And for them, it's like, you know what? It just shows up in my inbox whenever you post something. So they can stay up to date on things without really having to invest a great deal of time and effort.
But it's information that I want to
Yeah.
see.
Yes, you pick and choose what offers you want to receive, which could just be, let's say you're going to run a free marketing website analysis or something like that. So it could be an offer, it could be an article, like your podcast right here. You can send that to somebody that says, I want this type of information.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Because I mean, on a regular basis, I'm getting spammed by
Mhm.
so much information. And honestly, I got to be, you know, realistic. If I'm not interested in the information, it goes directly into my delete,
Mhm.
delete, delete. But when I am looking for that information, it feels like it's impossible to find.
You're right there. It's just a sea of information out there. Like one of my friends always says, like drinking water through a fire hose. You're just getting inundated with too much stuff and you stop looking because you don't have time to sift through everything. So it's kind of like we're helping you unsubscribe before you even try to subscribe. So,
Okay. And so let's go back to the beginning. You've had 35 years in the banking industry,
mm,
and then all of the sudden, what, you decide to just jump into entrepreneurship? Let's
yeah,
talk about that.
I just woke up one morning and felt the need to change. Actually, partially where this came from is, I've done my internet searches for things that I've had to do for the bank, whether looking for products or services, whatever. And as a user, I've been inundated with too much information from time to time. I've been spammed, like you said before. Also, next thing you know, you're getting unwanted phone calls, emails, pop-ups, all this other stuff. Those are all things that we don't do. Um, so between that and also sitting down and actually working with several business owners that, you hear their stories and you hear the struggles that they have. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard somebody say, I just need that one customer to get me over the hump, you know. So it was partially that and several business owners, in fact, that I've actually worked with, actually closing their businesses are some of the people that helped us put this together. So it's been that, and there's a catch 22 in banking. It says, if you have a newer business looking for, hey, I need a loan. Okay, well, I can't approve your loan because you don't have revenue to pay me back. Okay, but then the customer looks and goes, that's why I wanted the money so I can invest in marketing so I could get revenue to pay you back. So it really does create some very awkward conversations when, people are just trying to, get over the hump and you can't even help them with that. So it really is
Right.
about several experiences, both personally and professionally, that I've dealt with. And rather than just sitting on the sidelines, I talked to the people I knew in business and I talked to some friends that are developers, and we sat in a conference room for probably 6 or 7 straight weeks, like once or twice a week, and this is what we came up with.
Interesting. And you're so right. I mean, the number one reason small businesses fail is because they run out of money and they can't
Hmm.
get a loan from a bank if the bank doesn't feel that they're viable enough to be able to pay them back. And you all of a sudden you're like, I just need like $50,000 and
Yeah.
I will be able to launch
Hmm.
my business and I
Right.
will be able to pay you back. Like, trust me. And they're like, yeah, we don't
Yeah.
loan money to
Right.
people when they just say, trust me.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, character does count, but it has a limit. Um,
Right.
but think about that customer that, okay, I have a customer that wants me is going to give me $1 million contract if I can develop this product. Well, if you can't develop the product, you're kissing that, $1 million deal goodbye.
Right.
So it's tough. And like I said, I've heard a lot of stories over the course of my many, many years, decades or whatever of banking. But when you boil it down, it really does come down to the same thing,
Right.
you know?
Right. That makes, I mean, as an entrepreneur myself who's, sat and gone, man, if I could just get that revenue up, I could go to the bank, they would give me money, and then I would be, set to be able to get over that hump. But you are completely correct. It all comes down to how do you get the next customer to get you over that hump?
Right. And, even from a startup perspective too, that's really in a lot of cases where you have to invest that money because with current or a lot of the social media platforms, you really need to figure out a way to get to page 1 or 2 since so many people never go past that. And it's an expense that not a lot of people can take on, And when you look at COVID, how many people, it's been almost 4 million businesses since COVID have started. Well, how
Hmm.
many started up because they were downsized out?
Right.
So some of these people, it's not been by choice, but they're at a competitive disadvantage from the word go. It's not like they left their experiences with their employer. Hey, I'm downsizing you, but take everything you know and put it on this disk and then leave. You know, and unfortunately, the social media platforms they can actually, what do you call it? Their rating the algorithm is based on their number of years in business, and if you don't meet that minimum requirement, there's no way you're getting to page 1. No one's going to find you. So
Right.
we treat everyone the same. Everyone has an equal chance to generate a lead, to promote their business through the different channels. In fact, just by signing up for our paid plans, you automatically are eligible to start receiving leads. You don't have to do any marketing or promotion. So
That's, it feels like that would be such just a simple, why wouldn't I do that?
Well, we talked before about branding and getting your name out there. That's the same. A lot of the challenges I saw with these other people are the exact same ones I'm going through right now. And
Right.
just figuring out, how do you convey your message in a very simple way. And as you know, we've tried many different things and changing the message to try to figure out how can I resonate that message or our message better with somebody so
Hmm.
that they know that we're there. And um, it's a challenge.
Right. So it comes down to what makes you, your community, your platform different than the other platforms
Mhm,
out there. Because there are, I mean, there's I mean, I can name Alignable, but
mhm.
those are communities where you have to continue to,
Contribute and add people and things of that nature. And with us, we understand that and recognize that building a network it's not an easy task. And I jokingly, and I don't know if it's good or bad, but I think sometimes some other platforms like pyramid scheming because they ask you to go out and help other people, build their products so you can have access to their members, and then you expect people to do that for you. So it's kind of a different approach, but we want a community built where that just by signing up, you become a part of that community and you have access to the community, and you can control the information that you receive. You're not going to get hit with, unwanted phone calls, spam, and pop-up ads or any of that stuff because those are not things that we believe in. Again, those are things that put one business ahead of another one. They reward the people that have the resources, the experience, or the capabilities to run extensive campaigns. And there's so many people that have great business ideas, that have great products and services, but they can't be found because they don't have the money or the experience that they need or the time to really go out and promote your business hard.
right. And you think about that, you go online and let's just say, and I know, Scott, you've heard me use this one before, but the plumbers of the world, right?
Right.
But so you type in plumber, and the ones that can pay to advertise
Hmm.
on on any search engine will come up at the top, and you can see they're paid advertisers, so they
Hmm.
pop up at the top, which means that it is an unfair advantage to those small guys out there,
Hmm.
usually the ones that are local run businesses, non-chain, but true. And not to say that, a franchise or a chain is not a locally
Right.
run or owned business, but they're the ones that don't have that mass financial backing of, a franchise or of a, huge
Yeah.
business
Marketing department.
marketing
Mhm.
department. And so because they don't have that backing, they struggle to ever get off the ground.
Right.
And if you want to support local,
Hmm.
and sometimes you don't even realize that you're not, if you're just, pointing at the or just clicking on the first one that you see and you think, oh, serving Milwaukee. Okay. Because I would love to be able to support local. I want to support the community that I live in.
Right.
It would be nice to level the playing field. And it sounds like your platform puts everybody on the same.
Right. It doesn't matter to us. And the example we can use is your accountant. If you would, do an internet search without naming names, you get 459 million accountants near us. Now, I don't know about you, but I've evidently missed that subdivision because there is not that many. And you're right. You even if you join a group, let's say on LinkedIn, okay, local businesses, how many of those people actually reside here? And people are joining things like that. That's our thing. We don't have groups or hashtags. None of that. This is all just it's not a very exciting platform to look at, but that's by design. It's designed to be simple. It's designed to be one that doesn't require that you take multiple classes, run multiple campaigns, all these different things. It is just one where literally you can go on, you create your profile, you can go back in and manage it at any time, and then you set the radius. So if I only want to do business with, somebody within 10 miles of me, that's what it'll come down to. You set where you want to do your business. If you want to do global, have at her,
Right.
So it's really up to your personal preferences. And we felt that there was just different ways to do things like that.
Amazing. And that's great. I mean, and ultimately, so even if the big dogs come on there, even if Amazon or whatever it might be comes on there, they still don't have more pull than
Nope.
the little mom and pop shop candle company down the road who's saying, yeah, here, I've got great Christmas gifts. If that's what you're setting your preferences to be for whatever it might be.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just seems like that made sense. And maybe I oversimplified things but I think
No.
that we have power through simplicity in what we built.
And I think that entrepreneurs today are looking for something simple in a very complex world
I
because
agree.
we get lost in
Yeah.
the complexities, don't we?
Right. I think that one of the biggest challenges, and you and I have talked about this, is that we face is education. And I don't mean how to use us, but people are so conditioned, like, all the social media platforms out there. You're so conditioned that I have to do this, spend this, do, and all these different things. When the reality is, I don't think you do. A lot of their decisions, changing algorithms daily. How can you keep up with that? You have to pay somebody to do that. Really, I think in a lot of cases, the small business customers that we hope to be able to help are ones that are kind of left by the wayside, by some of these people because they're not going to generate $5,000 a month in revenue or $1,000 a month in revenue. If as a business owner, I can afford, $100 a month, well, okay, that's 1 hour of work, maybe I can get out of a consultant,
Mhm.
So I think that there's a market and there's a great opportunity here to support us, I think an underserved segment of the workforce, which
Right.
accounts for 99.9% of the business in the country. So,
Interesting.
so yeah.
Very interesting. So
Yeah.
when you started coming up with this idea, you had mentioned that there was a group of you that kind of talked about
hmm
this. I mean, how did the first I think you kind of mentioned because you were in banking and you were seeing so many underserved, businesses and that would be painful. I
Yeah.
I mean, it would be seeing so many people that you weren't able to help. And, I understand the regulations in banking. I understand, that there's a certain threshold that you
Right.
have to be able to show in order for it to be a viable deal to give you can't just give anybody money,
Right.
or, the banking industry would fold. And we've seen, what back in the housing industry
Yeah.
when they were just
Right.
handing out loans to everybody, we saw that happen. But
hmm
so I get that. But at what point did you really decide like, yeah, I'm gonna jump both feet in on this? And what was
What was that like?
what was that like? And what did you have family that were like, you're crazy? Because I know my
Um,
family was like, you're crazy.
I don't know if they thought I was crazy, but I always call it the deer in the headlight look because I remember as I started conceptualizing this, and I actually met with, some of our vendors that we had at the bank as well. I would sit there and I explain to him, and it'd be like this pause. And I remember one gentleman, he had his computer out and he's looking at some stuff that we'd put out there, and he's just like staring at it. And I'm like, is everything okay? I didn't know what it was. But I think, and things like that at first, I was like, okay, what do I have to do differently? I'm like, you know what? I said, it goes back to what I said about education. What we've built is so different than what's out there. And again, everyone's trained to think about something in a specific way. So when you throw something that out there that challenges, the norm, it made people think. I said that if 10% of the people that I've ever talked to about this told me I was crazy and I should, check myself in for a long weekend, uh, I would have stopped years ago. But I think that, the more I talk to people about what we're trying to do, I get so much positive feedback. In fact, through these initial conversations, our core platform exists today. We already have 7 enhancements that we've already gotten from conversations with people about how do I take this to the next level? How do I make this even better, more efficient for everybody involved? So it's so much fun when people start to figure out what we're doing and how we're
Mhm.
doing it. And, like I mentioned before we hopped on the call today, I said, our conversation today led me to go back and really kind of revisit the why of what we've done, and it's fun, to sit down and think about this because it's so easy. And I'm sure I've done to have an idea that you're like, that's just too much work, and you're not going to go against it. And if you really kind of look at the people or the companies I'm going against, I think the interest they earn on their checking account per second is probably, because they're so big,
Right.
and everything that they do is designed to increase profits. They have a board of directors. We don't. We have end users. My end users are
Right.
more important to me than a board of directors ever will be because they're the ones that are going to tell us what they need. They're the ones that we're going to talk to about how do we make this better for you. Simple things, what do you want to see? What are your pain points? I mean, all these things you can go out and research on the internet if you have the time, effort, and desire to do so. But until you actually, I think, sit across from somebody and really kind of listen to them, it really doesn't hit home. And I think every business that I shut down, I did it face to face. I had personal conversations with these people. I would be sitting there talking to things as, their spouses, their children, their family came walking in. So it was very real for me. It's not something I did which surprised some of the people I've worked with. I didn't do it over the phone. I didn't do it via email or text or anything like that. And I think that's because I think people, when they talk to me, understand the passion I have for this. I think
Mhm.
they know that it would take a lot to get me off center and to stop doing what I'm doing.
That was really well said. And clearly, you do have a passion for helping people. And wow, that was really, really well said. Um,
Thanks. Again, this is fun for me. I mean, this is something I'll hit mandatory retirement age soon, but I go, this is something I'm going to do well past it because I just enjoy this. I enjoy sitting down and talking to people.
right. Well, and if you enjoy what you do, you'll never, work a day in your life. And I think that the rise of the small business and the entrepreneurs, that we've seen, it comes out of a place of passion in so
Mhm.
many of us.
Right.
And the amount you had said, the amount of new entrepreneurs since COVID it's
It's
insane.
insane. Right.
Right. It is absolutely insane. And to have a platform where we are all working together and
Mhm.
not fighting each other,
Right. It's
that's what
huge.
that's what this is.
Right. And you think about some of the platforms that, because freelancers are the same way. They're going to grow exponentially over the next several years. Well, you can go to some websites out there now and they'll take up to 40% of the money that you earn as a freelancer just for the, connecting through there. They're going to restrict, you and I could be in the US, you could be across the border in Canada, have the same skill set, but because you're in Canada, some of these websites will limit what you can potentially earn. You know, our goal is really to get people
Wait,
talking. Yeah.
let's go back to that. Say that
Yes.
I'm sorry, go back to that.
Some of the freelancer websites that are out there will limit how much a person can make based upon their geographic location. So in addition to taking up to 40% of what you're going to earn, they're also going to several may restrict the max you can earn because you're in XYZ country.
Is that legal?
It must be because these people have I'm sure a few attorneys working for them. So yeah, but that's it, and So
So,
much.
and is that's a state or federal? It's got to be a federal
We have international rules and things like that.
international rules because of, and so the government is going to
No,
impose
the systems themselves actually do. They
the
limit it.
systems.
Yes. And the key thing there
Interesting.
is that as long as you treat everybody the same, there's really not much you can do.
Interesting.
But things like that. So we want to be able to say, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to connect you to. If you both agree that you want to go forward, and again, your initial contact for the most part on the platform is anonymous. So nobody knows who you are. You can even communicate and ask questions on it. Someone sends you a lead. You can go back and forth anonymously. But once you decide to go forward, then it's up to you to make your deal. I'm not going to set prices. I'm not going to take a cut of what you do and things like
Right.
that. And the other thing that we do, and this kind of goes back to that level playing field, what we have on the platform is the ability to identify as a, let's say, a women-owned business, Latino, Hispanic, Black-owned,
Right.
LGBTQ. You can identify that because there's so many people that support those groups. So
Right.
you have, and these are all things that we did without talking, those are not things that we discussed with the groups, but those are things that we just did because they seem to make sense.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, and there's a lot of people out there who choose to support
Right.
and to be anonymous. That eliminates in the beginning the
Anxiety.
some of the discrimination, or
Right.
I mean, hey,
Hmm.
I'd love to look at a couple of different offers before I then want to get to know the person to
Hmm.
make sure that I know, like, and trust them.
Right. And so once, let's say as a seller, and I get your lead, the minute that I click interested, then my profile opens up that you create. That also includes any of the offers, articles, anything that you posted. But I still don't know who the customer is or the buyer is.
So you
I,
can't be harassed by them.
right.
If you
The
choose not to move forward, they're not going to spam you.
right. Just like if the person that gets a lead says, I'm not interested, you never know.
Right.
The only time on the platform, Leighann, that somebody knows who you are is when, let's say we talked before about the offers and articles. When you send those out, they come from you. And that's the time that if someone's seeing, you put out your promo for website reviews or, whatever, that's when you want somebody to know who you are. They can actually
Right.
contact you directly through the system, or they can call you from the phone, right there. So the ability to do that again, but that's promoting your business. That's
Right.
getting in touch with somebody that wants to hear from you. So all these little things that we're talking about just all made sense to us.
Right. Very interesting. I love that.
Mhm.
And I love that you have an avenue to share a variety of different information, but only to those who are interested in that
Right,
information.
right,
Like, I'm not going to be interested in a variety of stuff. Like, there,
right.
right. I don't, and the other thing I don't like to have to do is manage my unsubscribe list.
Hmm.
Like, I don't want to have to I'm not interested in sending out my podcast or my newsletter to people who aren't interested in it, because it's
Right,
more time for me to manage the unsubscribe list. I
right.
would rather have people who are interested in the content that I have or the
Mhm.
product that I'm offering than people who are not interested. Like,
Right.
that's just more work for me.
Right. And the good thing is that literally when you go into the thing and create the submit form, once you hit submit, that's it. You don't do anything else. It literally goes out to the people directly.
The people who are interested.
Right.
The people who have stated that they would be interested in learning about
Hmm.
my podcast or my
Right.
business, sales rescue, of learning about, how they can
Hmm.
increase whatever it might be. Very interesting. I love it. I
So
love it.
think too about all the people that have a newsletter that literally sits on a website waiting for someone not to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to I'm not
That's
trying to
so
be
doom
cruel,
and gloom.
but it's true because again, if in order for someone to find it, they have to search me. And if I'm on page 1 million of a search, that's never going to happen. This is a
Right.
way, this is a way for that accountant, and it would have been a great way for you too. You could have easily gone into your system, you could have typed in accountant and just look for articles. You could have gone in and
Well,
seen
I am
anything somebody
now
posts.
I am now on your platform. So
So yes, thank
live
you.
and learn. Next time I need to find, something, I will definitely be, tweaking what I am interested in seeing. So, well, Scott, If you could give advice to somebody, let's say in your position,
Hmm.
is there anything that you would do differently when you first started out?
I've been asked this question before, and my response has always been the same: no, because I can't. Every decision I made at that point was based upon the knowledge I had at that time. And so much of what I've built over this time is a result of what I've learned through that process. So for me, I go, failure doesn't scare me, you know? And that's something that I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'm done, I'm giving up. But again, I think that is what's going to make you stronger. That's what's going to help you identify things, that you can change going forward. You can't change the past, but I can change the future. I can shape the future.
That is spoken like a true through and through entrepreneur, let me tell you, and it's funny because I just had an interview with, her name is Kathy. She's the owner of Yellow Leaf Candle Company. And she said the same thing that you said, is that failure doesn't scare me.
Mm.
It's, and I love hearing that because I fail
Oh,
probably on a daily basis at something, right?
well, you ask my kids
But
that it's like hourly at least, so
right.
it's all good.
Right. Yes, my daughter, and we were carving pumpkins yesterday, and even during that process, Mommy, why did you do that? Oh,
Yeah,
I failed.
yeah.
Here's the thing, and this goes back again to another interview that I had with Ben Zhang a long time ago. If you have to fail, and we do as entrepreneurs fail forward,
Hmm.
learn something from that experience that can help you into the future, which is exactly what you just said,
Right.
is that failure is not our enemy. It is the
Hmm.
gateway to us learning what to do next.
Right.
And
And
that's beautiful
and
because
yeah, it is. And back in the day when I've gone through interviews, people, oh, what do you tell us? And I always hate those questions. But one of the things I've told them, I said, I probably have learned more of what not to be from managers I didn't like than what to be from people I did like. Because
yes.
I know how I felt when I was handled or taken, addressed in a certain way. And I think that even from some probably very negative situations, I don't hold grudges. I don't hold anything because I've learned, and I took the positive out of a negative.
And that is exactly the way that I have lived my life. I am the queen of walking away, assessing the situation, and forgiving,
Hmm.
because holding on to negativity, even when you feel that you were wronged,
Hmm.
forgiveness and moving on and realizing that you just need to learn from, even if it's a horrific manager that made you feel like crap every
Hmm.
single day, that's for them to learn.
Right.
And
And
for
and
me to realize that I don't want to be like that, especially as a manager, and I will learn from it, move
mhm.
past it, forgive, and move on.
Right. And it's hard because you can't take your value system and put it into somebody else that was raised a totally different way and has different set of values. And I think that's so easy to do, and I think it's much harder to go the other way and actually think about it and say, okay, what was their perspective? And I think if you can understand that, you evolve.
Right, right. So we are coming to time. Scott, I'm going to give you your 30-second shameless pitch.
All right. Oh, great. We practice this, and I always forget it. It's only 30 seconds, but the short of what we do is we connect buyers and sellers directly, effortlessly with one another. And again, any feedback, someone wants to call, I'm just an email or phone call away. So,
Awesome. And we will put your email and your website in the show notes.
okay.
So anybody who wants to reach out to you, Scott, they will be able to do that. This conversation went so fast, but it was amazing. And I really appreciate you coming on
Well,
talking.
thanks. To me, this is just another one of our therapy sessions that we have, which is always they're always fun. But again, it's all about learning. It's all about how do you get work in conjunction with people that have the same goals of success that you do. So
Yeah.
thank you very much, Leighann, for letting me be here.
Yes. And again, thank you for coming on.
Okay.
This podcast is sponsored by Sales Rescue. Ready to revolutionize your sales strategy? Sales Rescue is here to transform your business's approach with proven success. At rescuemysales.com, we turn the frustration of missed targets into the thrill of exceeding goals, empowering you to meet and surpass your sales ambitions, leading to growth and profitability. Exclusively for Love Your Sales listeners, claim your free sales consultation today and receive our Sales Rescue AI playbook. Start your journey with sales excellence now. But hurry, this free offer is only available for a limited time. Visit rescuemysales.com now. That's rescuemysales.com. Don't miss this free opportunity at Sales Rescue, where we rescue your sales so you love your profits.
Thanks for joining us for Love Your Sales. For more, connect with Leighann on LinkedIn and be sure to subscribe to the show and leave us a rating and review. We'd love to hear what you think. Looking for a way to take your sales process to the next level? Visit us at loveyoursales.com to find out more about how Leighann can take your organization to new revenue heights. And be sure to join us next time for more great ways to love your customers so they love your sales.